Overall, about a 70% chance of rain, but that rain threat is going to be around all day, now into the evening hours tonight. Sunrise here just a few minutes away, officially at 6:36. I don't think we're going to have much luck in seeing it across most of the area as we're going to be dealing with those overcast skies. But we'll talk about today, tomorrow, and the weekend ahead coming up in just a few minutes.
It's just a lot of black smoke just comes up. And I was like, oh my God, is this train about to blow up? That's really my first thought.
Right now, investigators are trying to figure out what caused a train derailment near Robins Air Force Base as crews move to clear the wreckage. Our morning reporter TJ Anthony joins us live in Houston County with how that cleanup could affect your commute this morning. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, Caitlin. Yeah, that's right. Drivers can definitely expect to see some delays this morning in Warner Robins especially. Now, it's still very active scene out here today. I'm going to step out of this shot so you can see what's going on. As you can see, cop cars are behind me right now. And the Houston County Fire Chief, Chris Stoner, says around 20 cars went off the tracks yesterday. The derailment happened just after 5 yesterday evening near Watson Boulevard and Highway 247 around Warner Robins. The Houston County Emergency Management Agency says no hazardous materials were involved or leaking, and there are no injuries reported. Now, we spoke to one woman who works in Warner Robins, and she says she's never seen an accident quite like this.
Watching that in real time was kind of freaky. I was just screaming because I didn't know if there was other cars or anyone walking on the other side.
Now, if you do plan to travel around Warner Robins this morning, here's what you need to know before hitting the roads. Houston County EMA says you should try to avoid southbound lanes of Highway 247 between Green Street and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Those lanes will be closed at different times as crews work to get the train's cars upright. Now, drivers will see Watson Boulevard at Highway 247 closed for an extended period of time as well. There are no details right now on how long that will last. Now, there is a detour down on 3rd Street until further notice. Now, we will be following this story closely for any developments on air and online. Live in Houston County, TJ Anthony, 13 WMAZ News. Caitlin, back to you.
Thank you for that live update, TJ. Also, workers at Robins Air Force Base, there are traffic updates you need to keep in mind, too, dealing with what gates you can use. As of 10 last night, the base said the Russell Parkway gate would start 24/7 operations until further notice. The Watson Boulevard gate closed overnight, but it's now back open to northbound traffic for entrance only. The gate will remain closed to any outbound traffic. The Green Street gate will open as normal today. The base says anyone traveling southbound on Highway 247 should use that gate. This latest Norfolk Southern train derailment is one of 4 in central Georgia since October of 2019. Let's take a closer look. In the fall of 2019, a Norfolk Southern train derailed between Kathleen and Perry with over 30 cars leaving the track. It caused more than $5 million in damage, making it Georgia's most expensive train wreck on record at that time. That's according to Federal Railroad Administration reports that began in 1975. About a year later, in September 2020, Norfolk Southern crews cleaned up a train derailment in Washington County. It ran over water on the tracks around a swamp. Sheriff Joe Cochran says around 20 cars went off the tracks. It happened after remnants of Tropical System Sally rolled through, bringing heavy rain. Then last year in Washington County, another Norfolk Southern train went off the tracks around Oconee. Over 30 cars derailed in that crash in August of 2021. Time is 6:33. Now to 3 other headlines we're following this morning. A second person now faces charges in connection to a deadly shooting outside of Warner Robins Lounge. The police department says U.S. Marshal fugitive agents in North Carolina arrested 20-year-old Reggie Roberts Jr. of Warner Robins. He faces a murder charge in the June killing of 24-year-old Shamir Mitchell outside Crew Lounge on Highway 247. Roberts Jr. now awaits extradition to be brought back to Houston County. Last month, investigators arrested 20-year-old Samba Diallo in connection to the shooting. Diallo faces a murder party to a crime charge. This weekend, family of a Warner Robins hit-and-run victim will hold a funeral for their loved one, and they want the community to be there. Last week, 47-year-old Christopher Milan died near Watson Boulevard and Hickory Street in Warner Robins, about 100 yards from where he lived. His brother, Keith Milan, says Christopher suffered with schizophrenia and homelessness. He says the family stayed in touch with Christopher throughout the years. The 47-year-old was in and out of community homes, but always wanted to go back to the streets. To thank the Warner Robins community for their support, the family invites everyone to attend Christopher's funeral and have a meal following the service.
Put him up in a hotel, anything to get him off the street, feed him, and Chris would always just go back. You know, he was happy doing that, and anything that we gave him, he'd give it away. You know, he was not a materialistic person, and we just felt like this would be the last opportunity for Chris to give back as well.
Christopher's funeral is this Saturday at 11 a.m. It's at McCullough Funeral Home on South Houston Lake Road in Warner Robins. If you cannot attend, Keith asks that you donate to the Salvation Army or help the next homeless person you drive by in honor of his brother. Police have warrants out for the arrest of Tyrus Davis of Forest Park in this case. He faces charges of homicide by vehicle, leaving the scene of an accident, hit and run, and failure to report an accident. Bibb County Coroner Leon Jones wants your help to identify a man found dead in the woods in Macon. Someone found him around 3 yesterday afternoon near the 4400 block of Chambers Road. Jones says the area was a camp for homeless people. He says the man was in his late 30s or early 40s and needs help finding his family. An autopsy will happen to determine the man's cause of death. If you have any information, you can call Macon Regional Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-877-68-CRIME. Again, 1-877-68-CRIME. A cafeteria at a hospital in Bibb County is now getting a second look. The State Department of Public Health is investigating a possible foodborne illness at one of Atrium Health Navison's downtown Macon cafeterias. Michael Hawkinson with the North Central Health District says at least 10 people reported getting sick after eating there. He says they think the problem likely stemmed from supplies coming into the cafeteria, not from food handling problems there. None of the cases resulted in any serious illnesses. Atrium Health Navison told us they've identified an illness that's typically caused by contaminated fresh produce. So as a precaution, they've removed all fresh produce and vegetables from their cafeterias. They're working with the state DPH to find the specific source. New safety rules at Bibb County's Lake Toposophy are now a step closer to happening. This comes after at least 2 deaths there this summer. Yesterday, county commissioners gave first approval to new regulations for the lake. County officials say alcohol is a problem at Toposophy. Another is keeping young people safe. One of the new rules says children on the water must be supervised by adults. Commissioners tossed out one part of the ordinance that says the lake director can enforce new rules without their approval. The new ordinance does still need final approval from commission, and that will happen at a future meeting. Right now, the time is 6:37. Some people are already going to see rain on their morning commute today.
Yeah, including in downtown Macon, where we're starting to see the steadiness of it pick up, if you will. It's not just the sprinkles anymore. It's a pretty steady rainfall across downtown. There's a live look from Atrium Health Navison at this hour. The steady rain going to continue for about an hour or so in downtown, and then we're going to see some storms develop as we head through the later morning hours on into the noon hour. But the good news is we're going to be drying out for the weekend here in central Georgia. We'll take a look at it all here as the full forecast. So first, starting off with the radars, some steady sprinkles, if you will. Milledgeville down to Irwinton, Jeffersonville over towards Sandersville and Sparta. But once you get back here towards Macon, towards Crawford County, on into Peach County, northern Houston County, a steadier rainfall. It's nothing too crazy out there, but something you're certainly going to notice as you step out early this morning. There is a front draped up to our north. That's what those showers and storms and parts of Mississippi and Alabama are associated with. That front's trying to move down towards central Georgia, but it's not going to have a whole ton of luck in doing so. A level 1 severe weather risk today nonetheless. As the front approaches and gets closer to central Georgia, it will help any storms that we see develop. The threat of damaging winds, some small hail, maybe some lightning across the area, but really the front's not going to have a whole lot of luck in getting through central Georgia. Here's why. Check it out on Future View. It's picking up on the steadier rain this morning, also beginning to develop some storms by the time we get to the noon hour here. Some heavier downpours will be possible, certainly some heavy lightning like we've seen the past few mornings. But notice once we roll the clock forward, we get this line of showers rolling through northern Georgia. But watch as I play it through, that's going to really fall apart when it gets through central Georgia, and our winds never really shift. So we're not going to see that front move through central Georgia. Rather, it's going to get to us and just kind of dissipate. And that's going to be the story as we head through the day today. Now for tomorrow, a bit of a different tune. Remember that tropical disturbance we've been talking about for the past few days? This is the moisture from it being pulled through central Georgia. So some heavier downpours, maybe even some thunderstorms tomorrow night across the area. Then once we get into Friday morning, a few sprinkles, but not a great rain chance as we head through the day today. Overall, about a 30% chance of rain. Friday is going to be the first day of 3 that will be on the drier side of things. Saturday is going to be thrown into the mix as well. And Sunday is going to join it right along with it. There on Saturday, a 30% chance of rain for these 3 days here. But in the meantime, a 70% chance of rain for today and tomorrow here in central Georgia. Now the high temperatures still running 5 to 8 degrees below average. Our average high is 94, 86 today, 87 tomorrow. And then we're going to be in that ballpark through the weekend as well. Now the temperatures today going to take a while to respond as well. Hanging out in the 70s through the noon hour up to 81 by about 2 p.m. Eventually to 86 for our high temperature today. A 70% chance of rain. Now even even though we're going to top off at 86, the feel-like temperatures are going to be a bit higher, touching 90 at times today, thanks to the humidity we have hanging around. Here's an early look at the weekend forecast. 87 for Saturday, 88 for Sunday, a 30% chance of storms for both days. But in the meantime, a pretty good chance of rain today and tomorrow, and high temperatures hanging out in the mid to upper 80s across central Georgia. Now, mind you, it is the middle of July, and the 80s across the board, we will take that any July we can get here in central Georgia, because like I said, our average high is 94.